Tell me how this intervention worked for you.
This made a big difference for us. We've a few years ago, we actually had a significant event where a patient was prescribed 10 milligram methotrexate and took the same number of tablets that they were meant to take as 2.5 milligrams. And this was many years ago. But since then, we've had a practice policy where we'll only prescribe the 2.5 milligram doses. So the open prescribing data was actually really fascinating for us. When we saw that actually we had prescribed 10 milligrams again, that took us all by surprise and led us to actually do some research and to do a search and to find out who that patient was. And it turns out it's actually a new patient that had come to us whose record has been transferred through GP to GP. It slipped through their net and got added onto the repeat prescribing list. But they were understanding and we managed to change it. So for us, that's one of those real world applications of the open prescribing work that's been done.
Some practices may feel a little bit threatened by sharing their data. How did your practice feel about being part of an open data project where everyone could see the data?
I think as long as I've been around, which is nearly about 20 years now, I think in general practice, we've always had data analysed in all sorts of different ways through PACT and then ePACT. So it wasn't a great shock to us. And since we've had PCT days and CCG days, our prescribing data has always been analysed, and we like having our league tables at our locality meetings. We'll present charts and bar graphs for different areas, and so being GPs are always slightly competitive. We want to know that we're doing better than average.
You put interventions in your own practice before this to try and ensure that patients weren't prescribed methotrexate 10 milligrams. How would you advise other practices to do that?
We have a prescribing alert software on our systems that pops up windows when we are prescribing things that might be outside guidance. We have regular prescribing meetings. Our locality has those. We have in-house annual prescribing meetings with our prescribing advisors. A whole range of different things, and we also do in-house updates. The trouble is, even in a fairly small practice like mine, we've got a reasonable turnover of staff with trainees and salaried doctors. And again, it's just having that consistent message. And I think the open prescribing data is just another way and another tool that we can use to highlight this, just to look at the metrics from a different angle. Are there
any other areas you would like people to look at?
I think the open prescribing data actually is really useful. I think we definitely find out that our antibiotic prescribing in particular is sometimes out of kilter with where it perhaps it should be. I think for me, one of my areas of interest is in the NOAC prescribing. So the drugs for the anticoagulation drugs. And I think for me, I've noticed that actually perhaps patients maybe aren't being monitored as regularly as they should be with their renal function, for example. And I think if there's a way of combining the prescribing data together with the laboratory data, for me, I'd love to see that happen, because that could easily pick up our patients who perhaps need to have more regular blood tests for kidney function, for example.
Today, I've been talking to Dr. Kevin Barrett, who was involved in the methotrexate study. Kevin, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.